What's up, y'all? It's Paragon23. I'll be showing y'all how to properly use my football templates and make them not look like shit, like some of y'all do. So let me start off by saying this. First of all, it's Roblox. It's not a real jersey. So there's going to be some discrepancies and things that you need to change to make it fit, but it may not look like real life, if you know what I mean. So today we'll be doing UCF jerseys. They're white jerseys. I don't think they're from this season, but I think they look pretty cool, and they show some elements that would be nice to teach y'all, like this shoulder logo and this little logo on the chest. So first, we need to look at this jersey and find out the first thing. First thing is jersey color, obviously, which is white. So since it's white, we can just go ahead and look at the colors and pick the white. We don't need to select this color. Normal white, plain white will work just as good as anything else. So we'll do this. We'll click on this little black and white logo so we get the perfect black and white. We got white. So now we got the fill bucket. We're gonna go to anti-aliasing disabled. Okay, so it looks like pixels. Because on this template, these little blocks that I have, they are drawn in blocks. So if you color using anti-aliasing enabled, it's gonna show a little bit over the edge, and then it'll just mess up the coloring. So I'll stick with disabled. So as I said earlier, it's white. So let's go ahead and start coloring it white. We'll start with the torso. Oh, 1 second. Make sure you color all the normal parts that you can see don't have this, or on this jersey, the plain white areas. And this isn't my most updated version. I will be releasing the other version soon. So that's on the torso. And we'll go down to the sleeves, which all look normal and white. Make sure everything lines up. Now note, I might make a couple mistakes that need to be fixed, so you'll see those occur as the video goes on. And the reason why I'm leaving a few of these areas colored is because I have to insert a texture or something of that area. So okay, so now we have everything that is plain white, colored white, like the sleeves, the caps of the sleeves, torso. What we left was this area, which is that, and this area right here, as well as this. This jersey doesn't show it, but there's some texture there also. Also this, because there's texture in the little center. So those are those areas that are left uncolored here. So for the little mesh, as some people call it, what you have to do is get the paint bucket, and this is white. So what you're gonna do is you want the mesh color to be a little bit darker. So we'll go on the color palette, bring it down, and 100 is the white of the current jersey. So we'll bring it down to maybe 95. That sounds good to me. And we'll keep it anti-aliasing disabled. Tolerance really doesn't matter here because they're all different colors. And instead of solid color, do 25%. Now, we're gonna do that for all these areas right here, as well as the green on the sleeves. We're keeping the red on the cuffs the same for right now. So go ahead and color those in. You may not notice a big change, but we're not trying to make something big right now. These little mesh holes shouldn't be very noticeable. Okay, so we got that done. Make sure you don't leave any areas uncolored. Okay, now we're done with that part of coloring. Now, notice the sleeves. You have to make sure every detail is right. So now we have left the sleeves. The sleeves here are black, the little cuffs. And so for black, usually my idea is I want to make it a little bit lighter than black. So maybe 4 or 5. I'll go with 4. And let's go ahead and color those in. My templates have these armholes that people like so much. So I'll go ahead and color those in. Whoops, yeah, I made a mistake right there. I'll fix that. Fix that really quick. 64 is halfway. That's how I remember that. So let's move it back to 64 over there. All right, mistake fixed. So now the coloring is done. And next we'll worry about fixing the shading and the opacity of all the lines. Okay, now the next part is to change the transparency of the lines to make it look more realistic. So first I'll start with the shading because it'll just make it look better quicker. So with my shading, I have it posted in my Discord, which I'll link below. You want to blur it a little bit to make it look like this and turn down the opacity. So this is a white jersey. You want the opacity to be pretty low. So maybe around 45, just so you can barely see it. So we'll keep that there for now. If we need to fix it later, we can fix it. So that's the shading. We're not worried about the other shading. I didn't include that in my recent temp. So now we have stitching, lining, and colors left. So for this, I have the collar and the cuff lining put together, which is for this collar and these cuffs, as well as on the sleeve. You want to separate them. So first, you'll make a new layer, and I'm going to copy the collar and put it on this layer. There we go. So that's on the new layer. You can check by clicking them on and off. And if you need to check what exactly you're changing the opacity of, you can do that clicking on and off for all of them, including the stitching. So now we'll start from the bottom, the torso. The torso on this template is pretty much all of this and these little things right here and here. So first, this is a white template. Your lining will always be lower on a white template versus any other color, including black. So rule of thumb, move it down to 40. See how we like it. We'll move all of these down to 40. You can do these separately or together by combining them, but I'll do it separately just for the convenience. 40. Now we're on the collar and cuff. So this and this. Since it's black, I'll keep it the same because it has no real effect on the look. So we're not worried about that, but this is the collar. So you'll have to worry more about changing the color than the transparency of the collar and the cuff, because it gets in the way with the transparency, which you can see with these little blocks. So for the collar, I'm gonna go, since it's black and this is a white jersey, go to adjustments and to brightness / contrast. Contrast you don't need to worry about. I'm not messing with that, but I'm gonna bring the brightness down enough so it matches these lines. So you may have to do it a few times. That looks about right. I did 102 times on the brightness. All right, that's looking good. And now we'll do the stitching. So for these, it was 40. We'll make the stitching 40 also. So that looks pretty good right there. At least I think. We might bring them a little bit closer, a little bit further down. So we'll make it 30. Yeah, we'll make it 30 instead. So that's fine. Sleeves need to be down to 30. Torso split 30. Torso lining 30. And remember, I didn't mess with the cuffs because they're black. And that means we need to come up and change our collars just a little bit. Right. 20 maybe? That looks pretty good. All right. Now you can see the shading. You can still see a little bit too much. You can fix that to however you like. But I'm gonna move it down, instead of 45, maybe 30. Yep, I like 30, so we'll keep it at 30. And so to prep for the next part, we're gonna go ahead and merge all of these. So what I do is make a new layer here. You don't have to name it. I'll go ahead and name it lining. And you're gonna merge all of these into lining so they keep the same opacity. If you merge these together, that will mess up the opacity. It'll make some lines invisible. So go ahead and put all those together. And there's your lining, and there's your shading and your colors. They're all separated so you can make the next part look easy. The next part is gonna be logos. Now we have the final part of this video, which is to add the logos to the jersey. So make it go from this to this and this. So for this video, we're gonna add all of these logos except for the Chick-fil-A logo. So we have the UCF logo, I think the American East logo is what they're in, and the Nike logo, UCF logo, as well as this. So I'll show you how to find these logos, how to edit them, and then put them on. So first, we're gonna start with the UCF logo. So first, just look up UCF logo, and find the one closest. So go back to the video, the paint.net. It's UCF with a black outline. Looks close to this one, and it's transparent, so that's good. It's best to find a logo that's transparent. It looks like we'll have to get rid of this white outline. You can do that simply with the magic wand. Select what you want, delete. And now the part that everybody gets wrong. What people normally do is select it, go to this, make a new layer, paste it, and resize it like this. This is what people mean when they say it's pixelated. It just looks wrong. You can barely see any detail. I used to do that until I found this. So copy, make a new picture, paste it, and you want to measure how big this is. So this area is about 14 maybe? 14 in width. So we'll make this 14 and see how it looks. 14. See, that looks way better than the pixelated version. Paste it. It's a little bit too big. So instead of 14, we'll make it 12 just to see. It's looking a little bit better. We'll try 10 just to check. This is looking pretty small. Now, based on how you like it, you might like that, but I'm gonna roll with 12 in width. Let me make sure I'm doing the right thing. Oh, that was wrong. Let's do that. There we go. All right, there you go. And you want to make sure it's centered. And you can check the centering with this one by going 64 over, which is halfway, and making sure it's in the middle. Or when it's selected, you can see these little dots. You can see if it's in the middle, which you can use. There's a lot of cues on this one, like this middle line, these two lines coming together. So that was the easiest little logo to put on there. Now we have to do the Nike logo. I have one saved on here already. And we have to look at this, see how big this is, and try to see how long we should make it. So remember, this is Roblox and not real life. It can overlap, it'll be fine. I think it should be about 24 in width. So that's what we'll do, 24. Control R to resize. What did that do right? Keep pressing the wrong button. And we'll paste it on there. we'll say right there maybe. I think it looks pretty good. And now we've got the Nike logo, the black Nike logo. You could add the little outline if you wanted to, but I don't feel like that's important. And now we'll do the American East, I think, logo. I think it's the American East. So American East logo. Nope. So let's find out what conference they're in. American Athletic Conference logo. See if they have a UCF one made already. And looks like that's it. Let's make sure. Yep, it looks about right. We'll just go ahead and delete the white outline. It's not really necessary. Okay, so the Nike logo before was longer horizontal than vertical. This one's the opposite. So we're gonna have to figure out how big we want it. I'm just gonna go ahead and guess we want it 14 in height, maybe. Just to see how it looks. And that looks pretty close. I'll make it a little bit bigger. 16 maybe in height? 16? Yeah, 16 looks good. So on this, it's about the same distance from the middle as the Nike logo. I think right there is pretty good. Yep, it looks pretty. Let's move it a little bit, actually. All right, I think that looks pretty good. You can see the UCF pretty well, the A logo and Nike logo pretty well. So those are the simple logos we got done. We got that done, and as seen in this picture, the A. So now we have this little horse to do. So that's UCF's other logo. We'll copy this. Okay, so now we just want the horse. So we'll delete everything around it with the magic wand and just select the horse. Try to get as close to the edges as possible, like right there. Leaving a little space is fine. That's what I like to do. Okay, copy it, make a new picture, paste it. So according to this, it's kind of gray. So I think what we'll do is make the horse black. So you can do that with black and white and affect the brightness. All right, completely black. And we'll adjust the transparency. So first we need to find out what size we want it to be. Remember, this is also Roblox, so the proportions won't be exactly correct. So I think based on this, it should include both this area and this area. So we'll roll with 62 in length, since this is 64. So let's do that, 62 width. So this is a logo we'll use. And we'll paste it in a new layer here. So looking at this, it's facing towards the front, so we'll need to flip it. So we'll go back, image, flip horizontal, copy it, and paste it. Get it in the center. It's 62 and the arm is 64, so it should be one off from each side. And we'll move it. I think right there is pretty good. And what we need to do now is transfer all of this that's outside of the template onto here. So what we'll do is we'll go up from, measure the sides correctly, 64, and make sure we encompass the whole logo from where the template ends. So it's right there. We'll copy it and delete it. Now we'll make a new picture. We'll rotate it the proper way, which for this sleeve would be this way. Copy it, put it on the same template, and remember it's this time it's 64 in length, so it needs to include the top and here, because this little area right here, these 2 pixels are not included. So this makes the perfect overlap. It lines up with this logo down here, and That's good. So now we need to do the next sleeve over. You can do that by copying the whole sleeve. Copy, paste, Control C, Control V, and move it over. So this is in line with the end of the template. The template is, according to the bottom here, 262 by 113. 262 is the width. So we'll move it over 262. See, it matches, and it lines up perfectly. And so now we got the logo on there, which is good. So now we're gonna try and get the same color. And like I said earlier, we'll be adjusting the transparency. And so we want to get it to the same kind of gray, which I'll copy. And I'll paste just to make sure it gets close. So we'll adjust the transparency by going to Properties under the layers and moving it to something close, which it is right about here, 85. Delete the comparison. And I think it looks pretty good. Now, considering this has a lot of shading on it and it's just darker, I'll make it a little bit lighter. Yeah, 45 looks good. Okay, so I think that's all the logos. We'll just double check. There's no logos on the back for sure. So we got UCF, Nike, and the A, as well as the horses. So we're all set. All the logos are on there. The last thing to do is just to make sure everything's filled in. There's nothing left on the colors. You can do that by clicking the lining. Make sure there's no red, blue, green, yellow left over. Click lining back. And, well, there you go. There's your jersey. Last thing to do is to combine all the layers. You can do that by merging layer down individually, like this, onto the template, or by pressing Control, Shift, and F, and that'll bring it all together. And, well, there's your jersey. File, save as. I like to name mine team name and away, so it says white away jersey. Make it a PNG. Make sure you make it a PNG and save it. And that's the end. That's all you need to do.